Churchill's statue in London has now been boxed in to protect it from the hordes of Babylon, to use the kind of expression that Boris might use. Morning, Mark.
Morning.
Churchill, is he the great hero that Boris says he is? Well, I suppose from 1940 to about 42, 43, he played a very, very important role in British history. Otherwise, I think there are many aspects of his long career that are very debatable and very controversial. I won't go through all of them. Let's start when he was Home Secretary in the Liberal government. Because let's not forget, conservative, liberal, conservative. Not many politicians get away with reneging twice, do they? When he was Home Secretary in the Liberal government, he sent troops to South Wales to a mining community called Tonypandy. I think it's in the Rhondda area somewhere. And that went down very badly. His grandson was even reminded of it in the late 1970s in the Commons by Prime Minister James Callaghan, who said, "Be careful, young man. Remember what your granddad did to the miners before the First World War." So long, long memories. He was against women's emancipation. When he was First Lord of the Admiralty during the First World War, he was responsible for that awful campaign in Gallipoli, the Dardanelles campaign, where a huge number of Australian and New Zealand troops were killed, injured or captured. Okay, he went on the Western Front, took control of a regiment in 1916. So yes, he had first-hand experience of the Western Front. But when he came back and rejoined the Conservatives, he was a mediocre Chancellor of the Exchequer. John Maynard Keynes lambasted him for what he did, putting Britain back on the gold standard, which was not appropriate at the time. He was against the general strike. He'd also, just after the war, been in charge of the operation to have troops sent to try and defeat the Russian Revolution. So that didn't make him attractive to the left either. In the 30s, he seemed to be nearly always on the wrong side. Wrong on India. So he was against any form of Indian home rule or independence. He supported Edward VIII when most people were hostile to Edward VIII and what he was doing. And therefore, it's no great surprise to me that when he was going on about Hitler and the dangers and appeasement, who was listening to him? He'd forfeited a lot of support from the right and the left for what his previous life had been. People just did not trust him.
Yeah.
1940 to 42, yes. After the war, he should have retired.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He carried on, even though he was defeated heavily in 1945. So he wasn't seen as a great hero in 45. His party was defeated, but he stayed on even when the Conservatives came back. He had a stroke when he was staying, I think, at his own country house. But they covered it up. He was able to recover sufficiently to address, I think it was the Tory conference in the autumn. But for weeks and weeks and weeks, he was completely out of it and could hardly talk. And he left it too late. By the time he retired and Eden took over, Eden had been waiting too long. So I do not regard Churchill's long life as that of a hero. Robert Rhodes James wrote a book about 50, 60 years ago called Churchill, A Study in Failure. And I think there's a lot in that. If you just take out the early war years, I think a lot of it is pretty awful. And he was from the elites. Don't know what the Boris said actually. You know, he was born into the Dukes of Marlborough family, isn't he? His father was Lord Randolph Churchill.
Yeah.
So, there we go.